You've just seen the great Jeanette Epps. My God, her dreams are stronger than her fear. And, she said, space is for everyone. Right, like Juan, he's going with her to the moon. But I don't know why, spacewalking, not for me. Thank you very much. You can call me a chicken, but I'd rather stay here on Earth. So let's stay on Earth and go on to the next panel. And a good friend of mine recently started work with one of these, the biggest and most successful listed companies in the world. The company has over 30,000 employees. So I asked her, what's like? And she said, oh, great. I love working in a startup. It's fun. That startup is Facebook. And I wonder, is it possible to maintain the dynamic culture around decades once you grow so much? And what about listed companies that have been in the market for forever? Are they doomed never to innovate? Well, to answer all these questions and many more, we have with us the Executive Vice President of Labs at Wirecard, the international leaders of innovation in the field of digital technology, financial digital technology, and he is Jorn Leo Grande. Let's welcome him. Hello, Jorn. Welcome. Do you have the clicker? There you go.
Wow, it's amazing to come after directly.
Now you start, Leo.
Thank you very much. It's amazing to come next after an astronaut. I mean, this is like a level that I will not reach, actually. What I want to discuss a bit in the next 20 minutes is how Wirecard made it from a startup, a small startup, to a real big corporate company in the last 20 years, and what is part of our DNA, so to say. My name is Jorn Leo Grande. I'm with the company 12 years. And since then, we have some really cool development. Does anybody in here know Wirecard? Because not so many people. So maybe I talk a bit about us. We are a payment company, something very, very boring. We are a specialist for payment processing and issuing. And some facts and figures, some boring numbers. Transactional volume, something like 100 billion. Revenue, 1.5 billion. 30,000 more bigger customers, I would say, and 5,000 employees. Our customers really range from Microsoft, Orange, Sky, Aldi, Lidl, all the big names. And we're very happy to partner with companies like Apple. We are part of the Apple Wallet. We are part of Google Pay, actually. We're partnering with a company called WeChat and Alipay in Europe. So we're part of all the technology brands that are there. A bit of our journey. I don't want to give you a history lesson. I just want to tell you how we made it. We were founded in 1999, and a lot of M&A activities. And we are live in Asia, in Brazil, in the US. And this picture I don't like very much, because I started with the company in the year 2005. And if you look at our stock price, I was not very clever, because I didn't bought stock back then. It was something like €1. And it was not my brightest decision not to buy the stock. Now it's around 200, and that led me to the market capitalization. For a long time, nobody, especially in Germany, knew what we are actually doing, but there were like two developments in the last weeks and months that we become like a headline, a name in the news, in the daily newspaper, and this is what it's all about. First of all, we reached a market capitalization as a public listed company from, it's around 23 billion. And Deutsche Bank has actually 20 billion. So we outperformed Deutsche Bank from the market capitalization. I mean, Deutsche Bank, I've been there in Frankfurt. They have towers. What they have is modern art in every meeting room. They have branches, ATMs, 150,000 people, and when they come to us, they're kind of curious because we don't have any tower. Nothing belongs really to us. Everything is totally 100% digital. When they were in our meeting rooms, they were not getting it. And the other thing is, as a public listed company, we're now part of the DAX. DAX is the index of the 30 biggest companies in Germany, and we kicked out one major bank, Commerzbank. And it made major news, and even my mother now knows what I'm doing, actually. And the question is, why is a startup like us more valuable in the view of investors than these names, Deutsche Bank or Commerzbank? And I try to talk about 3 things that we did. The first one is always be part of the first wave. It's not about being the first. It's a lucky punch to be the first one, but it's valuable to be part of the first wave. When you talk about technology today, there are 2 major strategies. One is more aggressive and one is defense. A lot of banks in the past, they were playing this a bit more defensive. When a new technology or product showed up, they waited, see the development of this kind of stuff, and then they were going on an M&A track. They bought a company, actually. But technology is moving so fast these days that this is not going to work. If you watch a market and then you start an M&A track can easily last 1 or 2 years. And then what you have? You have a company that you have acquired. You have new people, new processes, new technologies. Nothing is running on your rails. You lose tremendous amount of time. And so we decided to go in a different direction, to really build everything on our own, using our own systems. I give you some example. The first one is a bit a joke, but it brought us there. We were the first financial institution with our own island and Second Life. When I was head of marketing, I was doing this. And I don't know, this is not my brightest thing, this graphic design of this girl. And here you see we actually have towers. But honestly, we were the first payment company with a banking license. This was a huge thing. Before us, I think nobody had this. Now companies like N26, they're normally going for their own banking license. We were the first issuer of virtual prepaid cards. We were the first who played around with HCE token-based payments. And we're the first partner for Alipay in Europe. And we have developed the first wearable prototype. I did it myself in the year 2014. I mean, in the year 2014, nobody was talking about payment wearables, actually. There was no Apple Watch, and I mean, we had really problems. We were really struggling with this because we are a payment company. We didn't know nothing about wearables or something. But we did build something, and this was clearly a prototype. And each time I was charging this thing, I was thinking to myself, maybe it's going to explode in my hand, so duct taped and everything. And then the marketing guys were talking to me and said, we had done a little 30 seconds movie about your product, and I want to show you this because it's looked a little bit different than a prototype. When I saw this with my team, we were shocked because the difference between the prototype and what this video was showing was so immense that it puts a massive pressure on all of us. And this is what it's all about. I mean, the power of being first means building up pressure. There's the news, there's a press release, there's something. Now, we don't talk about a prototype anymore. We're talking about a product, actually. And you need time to develop teams and processes, actually. If I want to do something on blockchain right now, I mean, it would take me half a year or a year to get a team. We are situated in Munich. There's Google, Microsoft, Alibaba, Siemens, BMW. And the most relevant thing for me is getting training data. So when we developed the first virtual prepaid card, then in this moment, I mean, when you come from financial technology, you have a lot of creative minds that have something totally different in their head. We call them fraudsters. They're quite creative. They look at new technology and think to themselves, how can I use this to get more money? And these guys are much smarter than any algorithm. You have to know what they are doing. You have to make mistakes. You have to, create a better product. This takes time. Making mistakes takes time. And you have to be top of mind when the market is ready. And this is the most important stuff. And I will talk about this a bit later. But there is something different. This gentleman here, anybody knows him? His name is Stephen Sassoon, and he was an engineer at Kodak. And in the year 75 of the last century, he invented this monstrum of a machine. It's the first digital camera. So Kodak Eastman, I would say the most innovative company of the past, of the 60s and 70s, they were the first to having a digital camera. So our friend Stephen here did go to his board like every year now for 10 years. And they were showing like his improvements and stuff. And the guys from Kodak, they were looking at the sales rates of paper and chemicals. And I mean, everything was rising. So this guy with his weird technology and cassette player and whatever, this is integrated there, they turned it down. They never made it a product. And then Stephen came on the idea, oh, maybe there is a way to share photos via telecom lines. I mean, the internet was not invented back then. And then one of the executive guys of Kodak said, nobody will ever take a look at an image on a television screen. Kodak Eastman, the bluest of all blue chips, who filed for bankruptcy in the year 2012. Although they were the first, I mean, they missed the point. The second thing is always control the value chain. I mean, I saw a lot of startup guys out there, and most of them are thinking, and I totally understand this, I take some third-party APIs and SDKs and integrate this, and everything will be fine. When you are a payment company, this is not working. We were the first payment company to acquire a full bank license in 2006. And the reason why we did this is there are an awful lot of players in the payment market. There's a gateway, there's someone who called a payment service provider, there's a risk management, the processing, the acquirer, which is the bank, and the issuer, this is a company who issues your cards. And payment is all about small event fees. And if you have to share all your event fees with these kind of infrastructure, there's not so much margin to be made. And so we decided to go a different way, and we been an acquirer. So we built up a bank, actually, and now we are having an acquiring license for whole of Europe and an issuing license for whole of Europe. Now everything in this infrastructure, in this value chain, is controlled by us. And this is not about revenue alone. My revenue is a part, but it's about independence, actually. I mean, integrating in third parties, especially in banks, this could be some surprises. I mean, I've done a lot of these kind of integrations, and it can last 6 months because you don't know the people, you don't know the technology, you don't know the processes, you might have problems to come to like Scrum processes and something like this. You are totally, you are 100% reliable on a third party. And you can't have a focus really. And for us, what is for us important are something like on-us capabilities. So if we are the issuer and the acquirer, everything stays in our network, so no fees are raised actually. And what is most important in our case is data. The more data we get, the more successful we are. Because the future of payment is not payment. The future of payment is the use of payment data to manage conversion at retailers. Because the payment transaction in principle is a digital tracking pixel that everybody of us is doing. So being in control is super important for a company like us. The last thing I want to tell you is something about always stay paranoid. And I have a little example. I found a picture. It's a cover of Forbes from the year 2007, and I printed it out and I framed it and I put it on my desk because I wanted to look at this thing every day. This it is. It's the year 2007. Sorry for the bad quality here. The guy who's smiling, so really relaxed in the camera, is the CEO of Nokia. He's holding one of his new smartphones, and the text is going, Nokia, 1 billion customers. Can anyone catch up with the cell phone king? Yeah, 1 billion customers. Can anyone catch up with the cell phone king? Wow. It's a big story. Then I wanted to look it up a bit more in detail. And what I saw is that the year 2007 was the most successful year in the history of Nokia. 40% market share. 40% market share. I mean, these guys were really the cell phone kings. But in January 2007, during the Super Bowl, a little spot aired, a TV spot, and I want to show you a spot because I didn't remember this. And the spot is called Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Barney.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Bonjour.
Hi. How you doing there? Yo. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yo, yo. Hello. 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 Hello.
Coming in June 2007. And I can see, before my mind, I can see the guys of Nokia, the cell phone kings, sitting there in their Finlandian woods or whatever, and watching this spot and thinking to themselves, well, we are the cell phone kings, you know. And they're totally right. They're absolutely right. But technology now, I don't want to say it's like a tsunami because this would be not appropriate, but it is moving so fast. If the markets, if the technology is ready, and if the product is in the mind of the people, and the right product comes across, then everything is happening super fast. It's the same now what is happening with electric cars. Everybody tends to think now about electric cars. The technology is not there where it is. The product is not there. Maybe a Tesla, could it be? But if you look at Audi, electric cars are 80,000 euros or something like this. For 80,000 euros, I would buy myself a Porsche or something. So the market is not there. Everybody is looking at this. If the right product kicks in and the market is ready, then you can be the king of cell phones or something. It will blow you away. There is a perfect storm coming up. And I said this also with all the respect to Deutsche Bank or any big bank. I think that the channels that the banks are using, normally they are gone. They are digitalized. All the communication protocols are digital. You don't need branches anymore. The market is open now. And if I would be a C-level of a bank, I would be very paranoid. Last but not least, I wanted to, I was thinking about how could I share a bit how paranoid we are, and it's quite hard, actually. I didn't came up with the right example. But I wanted to share with you a little email that my CEO, Markus Braun, was writing me personally and 5,000 others, employees of us, when we were reaching the DAX. I mean, I was talking to what have you done when you reached the DAX with the Commerzbank and Deutsche Bank guys, because they thought we did a great party and there was a lot of drinking involved and stuff like this. But Markus just wrote an email that has like 3 sentences. And the last sentence is, we see this as an intermediate step to more significant achievements. And we are convinced that the journey is only starting. I think this is the way you have to think. You have to, if you think you are successful, if you think you made it, and you lay back or something, I think you're lost, actually. Today, we have to accept that everything is a journey, moving from one step to the other, and the journey is just starting. And this is just what I wanted to tell you a bit about how we do things and how we gained to the story of coming from a startup to quite a corporate company. So thank you very much.